On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to introduce our second keynote speaker for the evening, Mr. Sunil Patil from Sunil Patil Associates Private Limited, Pune, India. So Sunil Patil Associates Private Limited is a national award-winning architectural and urban design consultancy. He is a principal architect over there, and he has been practicing for over 33 years, by the way, let me tell you. And he has delivered several versatile projects. He has been a recipient of prestigious national as well as regional awards, including the Indian Institute of Architects Awards, national awards such as Excellence in Architecture in Industrial category from IIID, and so many more. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Patil on the stage, please. Welcome to you, sir. We are truly looking forward to hear you.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. Good evening, friends. And it's amazing to be here in the city of Prague, in the Czech Republic. And it was really beautiful and mesmerizing with a little bit of problem with the cold that I caught. I got sore throat because of that. Otherwise, rest of the things are fantastic. And Dharam, it was an amazing presentation. And after that, it's really a big responsibility to keep it up. I belong to a small town of Maharashtra called Kolhapur, which is surrounded by nature. And that's how I'm brought up in nature. That also reflects in my architecture, harmony with the nature. And our office in Pune is also on the river bank with a lot of nature around, with a river where in Pune you will find river only there, where there's a confluence of three rivers together. So today I'm going to talk about a few public projects, which are mainly government projects, and how difficult it is to work with the government, the various challenges, the various user departments. There's a user department, there is an execution authority, you have to coordinate with all. The contractor is selected by a process, which is a competition. And then finally, you have to really get it done. With the timeline also is very important in that. We at SPAPL, we strongly believe that, of course, sustainability is important in all the fields now. But we strongly believe that to achieve sustainability, you don't have to really apply a rocket science. We simply follow the basic principles of architecture and see to that it's sustainable. Mainly, we focus on climate responsive architecture, because India being in a tropical country, we cannot just simply follow Western styles of glass facades. So what we have done is we call it contemporary vernacular architecture, where we follow traditional ethos, which are vernacular, and in a very contemporary style to suit our modern lifestyles. So that's how we are working. And our philosophy of space designing is harmony with the nature, because we strongly believe that however decorated your interior spaces are, man always likes to be with nature. If you go to a multi-sitting restaurant and if you find some space outside, you always prefer to sit on the terraces, even if the interior is really decorated very well. So let me now start my presentation. So that's of the contemporary vernacular architecture I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to explain you the process. Well, this is what I believe strongly. So I'm going to show you a first project, which is a circuit house. Now, those who are Indians know what circuit house is all about. But let me just explain it for the people from Czech, that it's basically a government house for the accommodation of VIP people like ministers or government officials, and also for some people. But besides just residential accommodation, there are a lot of activities happen. Like people give presentations for some government projects, and it acts like a nodal center for various government activities. So the important thing is that in this kind of buildings, there are people who are VIPs, VVIPs, sometimes the chief minister of the state who visits there, and also common people. So Main thing is that we have to look at circulation, zoning, and security. Security is the most important thing. Uh, and their circulation, which which has to be segregated most of the time, because these government officials, they don't want to meet common people, for every crossing. So that was a real challenge, and this is in the city of Pune in Maharashtra, designed for government of Maharashtra, with PWD as execution authority, and user department is always the collector. So this was the site. One side is a golf course. Then we have one existing circuit house there, and these were some existing trees. And after leaving that mandatory space, which is required for the fire engine, because these days in India, a lot of fire laws are made because of some incidences. So we take it very seriously. So after leaving all that, the footprint that you get is what you see there. And then we start developing the farm. Of course, we don't allow, this is our general theory, that we don't allow the floor plate to be more than 7 meters from the edge of the building, because light travels comfortably till there. So there's a dark zone. So obviously, we always create a courtyard. And that courtyard is not something new. It has been used in our traditional architecture as well, because it goes very well with our tropical climate. So this is how we did. And then what we thought of, just cutting off the west side, because there is a north, east, west, and south. So west is normally very harsh. So we thought of not having many activities there. And then we finally just provided two conferences, because this also has a conference facility. As I said, that it acts as a nodal activity center for the government. This is the final model. But before that, I'd just like to tell you that what you see, the yellow masses are basically the suites designed for them, the rooms. And the gray mass, what you see, on top of that is the suite for Chief Minister, which is reserved for Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and the cafeteria and other facilities below that. And there are two conferences here. And this is what the model. We'll just go quickly through the plan. What you see is in front is a landscape area, which we wanted to retain those trees. So we just let the setback, as I told you in the first slide. And then the landscape is designed such a way that it flows as if it flows inside the space, because we believe that there's a very thin line between exterior and interior. So the same kind of landscape is there in the courtyard as well. This is just a section. This building happens to be in defense area. So we are not allowed to have more than G+2 structures there. So we wanted to have entire campus vehicular free, because this kind of structures, the circuit houses normally have variable occupancy. Sometimes there are only 50 people, but sometimes there are more than 500 people, and it is very difficult to design waiting spaces or even parking spaces. So we decided to go for 2 basements here, and just G+2 structure. Of course, it has a helipad and a separate access for the ministers to come and just whatever business they have to interact with. And idea was that it's a green, it's very green to get them by helicopter. Otherwise, they come with a huge convoy in the city. There's a lot of wastage of fuel and a lot of officers on duty. So we thought that this is a good idea, and government was convinced, and they allowed us to do that. Now they're following it up in the new circuit houses that are happening now. So this is the front facade. That you see that exposed concrete wall with these are louvers, vertical fins, because it faces the west. This is the courtyard, what you see, because in government projects, you have to really work on a minimum built-up area. So we cannot provide a lot of open spaces, though the occupancy is variable. So this kind of courtyards help to accommodate that extra waiting space. And also, there's a water body there. What you see there is there's a conference. We worked a lot on this courtyard to decide the width to the height because we wanted that courtyard to remain shaded most of the time. Because as I said that India being a tropical country, it is very difficult to use the exterior spaces in peak time. So we worked on the width to length. So courtyard, there's a water body. It acts as a microclimate modifier. So we normally have these kind of things. Then there are two sleek bridges which connect two wings. Again, there's one more view of the courtyard. We use all passive strategies. This is a green building rated 5-star by Griha. And so all interior forms were inspired by nature. We used those motifs here. And entire furniture was done in that. Of course, we used sustainable materials like new mica from Greenland. But yeah, so that is mandatory. Again, in this building, we did some 230 artworks done by some 30 artists. And they were given the same theme, that go green or you cannot survive without flora or fauna or sustainability. And then this was all done to educate people through artwork. This is how the cafeteria with those chairs with the leaves. And this is the landscape as a public plaza, where again you can accommodate some sitting there. As I said that it looks like as it extended from the courtyard. This is the final side of that. This is how it looks. Second project that I'm going to show you is, can I use water? Is a collector office, which is the collectorate in Pune, again for the government of Maharashtra. So the collector office is normally is a powerhouse where the collector of the district sits and governs the district. That's the system there. And it has to show, the building has to show that power. So thank you. Sorry. So this is the plot. I mean, it was actually not a plot. There were small structures before. It's the same existing site where the existing the collectorate was already there. But they were functioning in small structures because they went on extending as per the need. And now it was becoming quite inconvenient for them to operate because various departments were segregated. So they wanted to demolish this and build one big structure to accommodate all their departments to function smoothly. So this was the scenario before we came into the picture. This was already done when they invited us to design this building. So they had removed all they demolished all the buildings, and these were the trees there. And there were 197 trees on the campus. And in the city of Pune, if you know that just cutting any tree is impossible because there is a lot of public awareness. If you have to really cut more than 5 trees, the matter goes to the court. And that's a good thing because people are really conscious about landscape and environment. But this was the real challenge, how to save those trees. And in India, as you know that all of us go for morning walks in the public campus only because we don't have enough public spaces. So many people keep watch on that whether the trees cut or not. And that was the thing. So if we had gone conventionally with the design, because this is about 200,000 square feet project, we needed to have more than 250 car parks. So if we had gone conventionally with the basement, which normally you think about, then it would have just forced us to cut a lot of trees. There was a previous proposal where somebody had recommended to cut 120 trees of this, but then that was a menace because all these trees are most of them are more than 50 years old. So that was not possible. So we took a different approach. We just found out a few patches where there were less number of trees. And then we located our office wings like that. And rather than going for basement, we decided to have a parking building, multi-story parking building, which can be connected to these wings. And it was a sustainable feature because the officer can just simply drive to his floor and just walk without using elevators and without using mechanical energy. So that was the idea. So we started designing, again, with our philosophy that we don't allow more than 75 meter floor plate. Then the courtyards were created, and the parking building, which is behind, it was connected by the bridges. And on top of that, there is a wing C, third wing where the collectorate and main deputy collectors and the main officials sit there. And by doing this, we had saved almost 112 trees. Only 8 trees were needed to be shifted or cut. So that was the biggest achievement. And on this basis, we got this project through competition. So again, as I said, that this is again a 5-star rated green building by Griha. So we used all these fins to cut the radiation. The biggest challenge in Indian climate is that sun and the breeze comes from the same direction. So how you cut the radiation and how you just allow the breeze, that's important. Because in most of the government buildings, in this building particularly, only out of this 200,000 square feet, 2 lakh square feet, only 10,000 square feet area is mechanically air conditioned. Rest of the area is naturally ventilated. So that was a big challenge there. Then this is how it goes on. We planted some new trees. There's to compensate the trees the 8 trees that we had shifted or cut. And this is the actual photograph of the building. There's one more thing. There was one heritage building in the campus, and heritage department had, made it mandatory to use one porch. That there was a porch of that building. That building was a small building, and that put a condition that the same porch should be used for the new building, which was very funny because a new building was supposed to be 2 lakh square feet, and the existing building, the porch was of 6,000 square feet. Just imagine that such a small porch. And we talked to them, we gave them idea that we told them that rather than making this as a porch, entrance porch, we can make it a monument. And so we used the same porch, we rebuilt it, and in the central plaza. The previous buildings were of stone masonries. So whatever stone was demolished, we used it for the ground floor of the building that you can see here. Of course, that was not enough, so I had to bring in some more stone. So this is the central plaza of the building, where there's a nice mural. Art in architecture has always been a part of our culture and our architecture as well. So with our design firm. So there is a nice mural which is about 8 meters by 8 meters, which you can see in detail. This is the mural, which is done in metal, which shows trees, but the leaves of the trees are hands. So it gives a message: let's join hands to save our environment. So it was idea was to educate people through your artwork. So this is the facade, as I said, that climate responsive building envelope. So I have to rush because I have 2 more projects. So this is the front side of the building. The distance between these 2 wings is about 22 meters. You don't see it here. And the upper mass is projecting out by about 8 meters. This is another view. I talked about this central courtyards. We have this natural ventilation system. It extracts the winds from it. So we create stack effect. And this is how these are naturally ventilated. So this is the bridge that I was talking about. This is one more view. Some more views of the same plaza. The structure you see here is the old structure which is rebuilt here. So the third project I'm going to show you is a winery. It's a Fratelli Wines that you must be knowing. Fratelli, that's an Italian brand. They wanted to have a huge winery in India, and they chose a place called Akluz, which is again which in the district of Solapur, about 150 kilometers from Pune. So it was done on about 300 acres of vineyards, but actual area given to the plant was something around 32 acres, and this is what we designed there. And now I don't have to explain you this because you know how the wine is made, the process of wine. But yeah, it was a good study for us. So mainly, I'll just repeat that. There's a manufacturing unit, about 9 lakh liters. It's a huge winery, considering Indian standards, 9 lakh liters per year. And then there's the administration block and guest house, because this site is 50 kilometers away from all the major commercial areas, so you don't get anything there. So we had to have our own accommodation and other facilities. So I'll just quickly explain you the zoning. What you see in the front is the administrative block, which has got wine tasting lounge and their offices. And top of that is your guest rooms. And there is a wine cellar there in the basement. So that cellar, whatever we excavated from that, we used to create that mount there. And what you see there is a tank hall which is facing north side, and there is again something like a space like open courtyard, 200 open courtyard there, and that's how the zoning is. This is the front main facade of the building, some of the pics, and the best part of this was that they already had planted the grape plants. They are plants, not creepers, and the crop was getting ready within 5 to 6 months, and they did not want to waste the crop. So this entire building was done just in 5.5 months, right from the designing. We used PEB structures, pre-engineered structures. These are some more details of the roof, how we use that layer, because the tank hall is not air conditioned, but the tanks are jacketed, and we need to preserve that temperature there. We cannot allow the loss of temperature, so we had to work on that. We only kept north side open with glass. There's some more photographs. This is again a very slick structural member supporting about, here again the span was about 22 meters. That's the wine cellar, which goes to the wine cellar. This is a nice staircase which goes to the first floor guest house. This is the wine cellar. We had introduced the system. Fratelli has introduced a system of keeping the cask there, but was not getting good response. So we finally used it for their own store. Interior was minimalistic. It was just, they had brought in some ready-made furniture, and we had to just play with the colors. There were only 4 rooms, so we played with the different colors. So it was a very cost-effective project. So we just used one color for one room, and that's it. This is the wine tasting lounge. Again, on first floor. Very simple specifications. We have used Kota stone flooring and just plastered walls. And this is another view of that. One more view. So this is how it is. I still have 6 minutes, I think, so I will cover this. Now, the next project which I'm going to show you is it's a bus station in Baramati. Baramati is a small town in Maharashtra, but it's a very influential town, well-developed town, because 2 major personalities, political personalities belong here, Mr. Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar. So this town has almost all those facilities that a bigger metropolitan towns or cities have. So this was a very good project, where there was existing bus station, but they wanted to redo that, demolish it, and we have 3 roads all sides. This is the major road, which is 20 meters. So this was the main road, and 2 more roads, but the back road is at a different level, so we could not use it. And here, the main thing was that they wanted to develop a different model, which is commercially viable, which will help to sustain this project commercially. So they wanted to have some commercial area which can be let out, rent out, and they can get some revenue. So it was a revenue generating model there. So we thought that when there is a commercial activity along with the bus station, our previous experiences with the buildings are like it becomes very chaotic. So we decided that we should have some green space in between the commercial and the bus station. Rather than having a typical bus station, we can just have a high roof and give them more space visually. So idea was to have bus station plus commercial complex, bus parking and workstation there. Then we thought that if we do that, there will be again a lot of chaos, the commercial activity, and the bus people coming for the bus station. Then we decided to create a buffer in the form of a central plaza, which can be in the form of garden or a well-designed landscape, which can also be used for people to wait or people to just relax there, and some common facilities like cafeteria or canteen can be put there. Then we designed workshops there, because this road we used for circulation of the buses, and this main road was for the commercial people. And we took the entrance from the side road. So this is how the plan is. You enter from here. This is what we see here is the entrance plaza here, one. Then this entire thing is a commercial. There are shops, showrooms, and offices on first floor. And the other side, what you see is a bus station where they have this bus parking and additional bus parking there. And this is the main entrance. There's a parking for commercial, parking for the people who come to the bus station. And then this is the first floor, upper level, where there are the offices continue there. And back side is all the requirement that, this is again the government of Maharashtra. So MSRTC had some requirement. So we accommodated that there. So this is the section. You see, this is bus station. There is a commercial zone. And in between, what we have done is a central plaza with landscape. So we have used only two materials, zinc roof, and what you see below is the masonry with brick cladding. So this is a construction stage. It was very interesting. We were spanning about 32 meters. The span between two supports are 32 meters. What you see is a huge entrance porch with the entrance lobby there. And this height is about 8 meters with zinc roof projecting out. And those are the brick masses. This is the courtyard I was talking about, which can this photography was done just on the next day when the bus station was inaugurated. But now it is quite crowded there. So as I said that zinc, because it's a government project, we wanted to go for a material which is long-lasting, which is weatherproof. So we chose zinc for that and use the VM zinc barrier. And then what you see there is, those are the brick masses, the lower portions. There's a brick cladding again. There's another view of that at night. This is a view from a bus station side. The huge cantilevers, that's about 32 meters there. Just one more view where how it is being utilized right now. So most of the furniture was built in with concrete disc so that they are long-lasting and sustainable. There's some views of the courtyard and the sitting in the courtyard again. Yeah. So this view from inside to outside. We use good lighting here. They allowed us, even the brands like Endo, we had to convince the government. And now the government buildings in India, they're improving. They're even all these councillors or government officials have really a good vision now for the buildings. So we are planning to change the skyline of government buildings in India. So this is one more view from the top. It's a commercial side. I just run through a few views. That's our team. Thank you very much. I think I made it in time. Yeah.